All right, welcome back. It's now 2 minutes past 7 a.m. Welcome back to the program. Today being a Wednesday is The Viewpoint, and let's talk about everything that is happening across the country, from socio-economic issues to politics and everything in between. Karibu sana. My name is Victor Lom. Now my guests are already in studio and we have to do this. It's going to be 1 hour of some serious business. Are you ready for this? All right, Mheshimiwa Francis Mwangangi, who is the Deputy Governor representing the great people of Machakos County. Mheshimiwa, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Karibu sana. And Honorable Tom Odege. But then did you know this called Tom Mboya? Odege, he's the Member of Parliament, legislator, lawmaker of Nyatika constituency. He's also the Secretary General Union of Kenya Civil Servants. He'll talk to us when it comes to the matters education and the strike that we are witnessing in the country today. 60 days to be precise of the lecturers pay standoff as a section of UKCS. Of course, Wilson Sosion, who is a veteran unionist and educator, is also here. I will be unveiling him shortly. Oh, are we good to go? Your coffee is here. he's whispering coffee. Coffee is here. Okay, director, just bring coffee. Just bring coffee. Just bring coffee. That's how we kind of do it. Okay. Okay, gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Allow me to start with the front page of the Star newspaper. Raila's party in turmoil, as Ruto deal sparks war. That's on the front page of the Star newspaper. Raila's party in turmoil as Ruto deal sparks war. Says that one faction wants government positions, protection of party identity. That story is fleshed there, but it continues on page 4 and 5. But another sad story of the mudslide that has now in Kesongosh, that is in Elgeyo Marakwet, the number has now risen to 36 as at yesterday. The government, including the military, Interior Ministry, Red Cross, and even locals are actually working around the clock. The sniffer dogs have so far been introduced in that area, at least to get bodies or even survivors of that deluge that happened in West Pokot. We pray for the affected families. And the weatherman still says that short rains peak this month, while January is likely to be very hot and dry. The story of Raila's party in turmoil as Ruto deal packs war. There is a faction of others saying that they need to stay in the government until 2027, and then they decide whether they will strike a deal with the president to support him or they go their separate way. Again, that's the story. But what I want to talk about today is the MPs, the government versus the lecturer strike, which is actually on the 60th day. But allow me to take you on the front page of the, which one do you have there? That's Daily Nation. What's the front page of the Daily Nation?
How payroll cartel is milking Kenyans.
Okay.
Yes.
That's according to SRC.
Yes.
Mheshimiwa Odege, on the front page of the Standard?
Suluhu's vendetta.
Yeah, it's been on the front page for quite some time, ever since the elections happened. And it's sad affairs that, well, a section of Kenyans also died in that protest. I think that we just have to leave to the government to solve. All right, Mheshimiwa Sosion, welcome officially.
Thank you.
Trade unionist, veteran unionist, and educator. Asante sana.
Teacher as well.
As a teacher. So let me start with you, now that your mic is on. The lecturer strike has entered 60th day. Yesterday, the members of parliament met union officials, the CS, Treasury, and it was not so good there. There's no white smoke yet. 60 days of strike. Nobody's beating your record. 60 days.
Well, it's not about how to set the record of the longest strike. A strike is not anything to be excited about.
You can't celebrate it.
I think a Secretary General leading a strike and sustaining it even for an hour is not an easy thing. I think I should salute the lecturers for being the most organized in the world. I've been the president EI, and it is not possible to get lecturers who are organized and who can agitate for their rights in a focused way, the way our lecturers have done. And they've proved a case of 7.9 billion.
Yeah.
That said, yesterday the meeting at Parliament was exceptional in unlocking the stalemate, and according to me, if that is anything to go by, then this strike will be called off within the next few hours. And it will be called off in a manner that is beneficial to the lecturers, beneficial to the students, and beneficial to the country.
Yeah.
The conundrum of messing up the mathematics and messing up the previous CBAs, I think, has to come to an end. You remember, we are dealing with a CBA of 2017-2021. And that is basically is a responsibility of a previous regime that messed up the implementation of CBAs across the labor sector. And when the Kenya Kwanza administration was coming in under President Ruto, we signed an education charter, negotiated it, and many of the people who participated in drafting indeed were the lecturers. And if you read bullet 12 on the chapter on access to equitable quality education, it's about respecting the CBAs in the labor sector, in the education sector, and negotiations between unions and their employers. And therefore, I don't think there will be any more confusion in the three parallel CPAs which are running, 2017, 2021, 2021, 2025, and they're yet to be signed 2025, 2029. That is going to be weeded out and cleared off. Because remember, the university is undergoing transition from differentiated cost unit funding model to the new student-centered funding model. And it has to work. And universities had collapsed. Some were not paying even salaries, some were not remitting third-party deductions. But you see, the most important intervention measure from Kenya Kwanza administration was to enhance funding to universities. And you can see help went up from 13 billion in 2022, and this year, in this financial year, it will be 41 billion. That really, indeed, is phenomenal. And to recalibrate and bring back to universities to financial liquidity that they're able to meet their obligations is not a simple issue. Then the challenge number 2 is the CBS that affects the lecturers and staff. And we don't expect to be having strikes in the universities when you are thinking of leaping this country from the third world to the first world. The centers and the crucibles and the epicenters of research and transformation so that we can shift this country to the level of manufacturing, value addition, and re-engineering the production in the country is in the universities. And so I think the government is very deliberate. That explains why the CS Treasury was in Parliament yesterday, CS Education was in Parliament, and the Education Committee was able to prosecute and bring parties closer to inching a deal and an agreement that will see students back to class.
Allow me to bring in Mheshimiwa Odege here. Basically, what are some of the behind the scenes? Because Wanjiku might not really understand what CBA is all about. Perhaps Sosioni can also help us that later on. But then now, what are some of the behind the scenes? Because to Wanjiku they say government does not want to pay lecturers. Lecturers on strike. It is the students now who are suffering. But what are some of the nitty-gritties behind the deed? Because whatever happened yesterday, somebody would argue that ought to have happened long time ago to resolve the impasse.
Okay, let me also add my voice to, I pick it up from where Sosiona's ended.
Yes.
When you negotiate for a CBA and an agreement reached and signed, there must be confirmation of ability to pay.
Which is registered.
Which is registered.
Okay.
There is no way you can agree and sign a CBA if you are not focused on how you are going to implement the CBA. The problem we have here is conmanship. Because after signing a CBA, like now we are talking of the strike coming to an end. In fact, I'm privy to some information. There are likelihood strike is going to be called off today.
That's good news.
It's like they're zeroing in on some agreement. But now, if we agreed now to pay the lecturers in 2 phases, then you pay the first phase. When the second phase comes, you are quiet. You don't respond to the agreement. What do you expect? That's what happened in the CBA we are talking about here. It was signed, agreed, and was not fully implemented. That's the same case with a number of unions in this country where we have a problem. When a CBA is signed, it's legal and it should be implemented to totality. So waiting for over 4 years until lecturers goes on strike to implement a CBA is criminal, and it's something which is not to be accepted anywhere. So this one now, we are just asking the government and the universities, if we come to agreement and the strike is called off, they should see into it that the two phases they were zeroing in on are fully implemented. Because like now, we have a 4-year cycle of a CBA, which means even after implementing this one, these people are ripe to negotiate for a new CBA. As we are talking now, they're supposed to be negotiating for a new CBA, which will take them for another 4 years. So this one is just something backdated, because this is a debt which was not fulfilled. But as we are talking now, these people are due for a new review, which will see them through for another 4 years. So now if they are open another discussion now on fresh CBA, Kenyans will be made to believe that they are demanding for too much without knowing the history of this all struggle about. So when you see any trade union coming up with an agreement, which is called the CBA, already there was a discussion, a committee from both ends, an agreement reached. Like now in the public service, there is no CBA you'll sign which is not subjected to SRC. If a CBA is subjected to SRC, SRC is in touch with the National Treasury throughout, and approval given and that CBA is signed, we don't have a reason why that CBA should not be implemented in its totality. It's an excuse which should not be tolerated.
Mheshimiwa Mwangangi, your take on this, 60 days of a strike. Well, I think it's some good news from Mheshimiwa Odege. If it happens today, then the students should go back to class. First years have not even enjoyed their first semester in school.
Thank you. Allow me respectively to first send my message of condolences to the Elgeyo Marakwet families that were affected by the flooding. My sympathies and prayers goes to the affected communities. Secondly, we have a very insensitive regime. They allow me to dissociate myself totally with the sentiments of Honorable Sosion. It's just doing a PR for this administration. Education is very key. We have a regime that is promising to take the country to the level of first world. But on the other side, they are killing education sector. 60 days are too long. Too long for any serious administration that was elected. And I'm saying was, because if we were to repeat it today, I doubt they can even garner a quarter of what they got. So it is the insensitivity. Let's not even get into the details of whether the strike will be called off later today, within the course of the week, or even the time. 60 days is a lot of time. And we have seen, you saw, earlier on, we had healthcare professionals who did their demonstrations for many days, and the president was unbothered. Instead, he had money to gather delegates in State House and bribe them with the 10,000 each, but no, he has no time, or his agents, appointed agents, who are ministers and principal secretary, who cannot have single time to listen to these union leaders. So I think it is the insensitivity of the administration that we have that is seeing this country suffer in many ways. And a diplomat said the choices have consequences. I think as a country, we are seeing the consequences of the type of the leadership that we have in this country. If we are serious on transforming this country, education has to be at the center of it. So when you hear this kind of PR, we are doing well, that is not here nor there. We need to be serious. Lastly, on the education sector, I think I saw something that was published as a new policy by the Minister of Education. I pray or our national parliament will trust that.
What was
because
I
saw
what's the content of what was
I saw something to the effect that there is going to be classification of schools, and at a certain level, I think at the national level, a parent is going to pay 53,000. If we are serious on transforming this country, Victor, how do we talk of giving a burden to parents when we should be talking about quality free education in Kenya? So how are we going to transform this country? Yet the policies of this administration have pushed millions to poverty, meaning we are going again to have a bigger population in this country who are not going to access education, courtesy of policies of this administration. So, not to look like I'm deviating from the key agenda, I think the strike by our university lecturers, 60 days is too long. 60 days is too long, and I think buck should stop with somebody.
Okay.
Yes.
So is it SRC, National Treasury, or Ministry of Education to take full responsibility?
I think the three parties combined, because we are in 2025, and we are talking about a CBA of 2017-2021, which is not clear. The lecturers raised the red flag sometimes around 2020, but the ministry then, under another regime, appealed in court, and the matter continued dragging on in the court for a long time. This is mathematical insincerity by the university's administrations, with SRC giving confusing guidelines, and the Ministry of Education failing to take responsibility to request for the right amount of money. And I think at the end of this, there must be administrative action against those who have caused this confusion and those who have messed up the implementation of CBAs at the universities. And I dare say here and in this show and now that the Kenya Kwanza administration is committed, and the president appended the signature to the education charter, is committed to respecting collective agreements between unions and their employers. And if you look at facts, there were issues with the medical practitioners in this country, and those matters have been ironed out systematically, absolutely, to the point that we don't have issues now. There have been issues with the university lecturers. You saw two ministers in parliament yesterday. And the argument has been for the last couple of days during the period of the strike was getting the facts about the mathematics. If Kenya Kwanza administration was not committing to getting things right, then it wouldn't have admitted to the unpaid 7.9 billion. It has done so because the mathematics have been done correctly. And the recommendation to pay in two phases is informed by the fiscal challenge that we have in the country. And Mbadi made it very clear yesterday that even all the CBAs that are being implemented parallel to each other will be financed honestly based on the agreements. So you see, Kenya Kwanza inherited challenges that were created by the previous regimes, and these are being weeded out effectively. And if you read the education charter and if you see the programs that have been implemented in education, these are meant to turn around the operations in the education sector and ensure unhindered delivery of equitable quality education to all children, from the basic education to universities. Indeed, the indicators are that the strike will be called off, and it will be called off at a point of proper agreement.
Yeah.
The lecturers will go back to class more motivated because their issues shall have been addressed.
Let's take a look at that story, or what happened in Parliament yesterday. And you know, there's yet to be a breakthrough, but as you've correctly put it, most likely there's going to be some white smoke. The Ministry of Education and the University Academic Staff Union actually failed, but now they were coming up with a ratio, 80-20, 50-50. And now let's just listen to what happened yesterday in Parliament during that hearing at the committee.
After close to 2 months of hard stances, negotiations and renegotiations, the lecturers' 50-day strike finally landed before the National Assembly Committee on Education. The meeting only having one agenda: to unlock the stalemate that has seen students in public universities out of the lecture halls for close to 2 months. The payment framework of 7.9 billion arrears owed by lecturers in the 2017-2022 collective bargaining agreement. Already, government had offered to pay them in 2 phases, but lecturers' union maintained a one-off payment phase, saying the payment was long overdue.
There are members who have retired since 2017-2021. They are at home. They need their pension. 2, if we push this 50% to 2026, 2027 financial year, already there are commitments, and the Minister of Education is going to be constrained.
Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi during the meeting was forced to raise the amount in their 2-pay phased offer from 2.16 billion to 3.85 billion shillings, promising to complete the remaining amount in the 2026-2027 financial year.
We are just pleading with the unions to understand that our fiscal space is limited.
It is on the basis of the supplementary, which is this coming month, and you are here. Everybody knows that this team, the unions and the professors, they're the ones who teach economics and commerce. It's not possible for me to agree here and say immediately I go outside, once they sign, I give them the money. There's that process.
What the CS is afraid of is a paycheck tomorrow. And that's what you are saying. Yes. Which actually is not feasible, as we discussed now. It's not possible.
So when is the CS suggesting?
Order,
the CS is suggesting
order. You're out of order. So the CS is in agreement, but the issue is it is supposed to be in a supplementary budget. And we are all in agreement on that. So you go back and do the return to work formula, and those are the issues you will capture it. SG, yes.
But Universities Union, led by Universities Academic Staff Union Secretary General Constantine Wasonga, expressed fear that the government may be overwhelmed with the already outstanding arrears and that their position on the one-off payment still remains.
The worst of the worst, Chair, is 80-20. They give us 80% and 20% to remain. 80% will be 5 billion. My irreducible minimum for the sake of you and the honorable committee members and the students of this country.
The committee, however, put the 2 CSs to commit on honoring the promises in a move to end the impasse.
And the CS has committed himself. National Treasury has committed themselves. Up to when? I think we can say if you can do it by December, that's December salary would be good. But
the payment framework remaining thorny.
Yesterday at the committee, that is the Education Committee of Parliament. But then now, the proposal by the SecGen there, that is Wasonga, is 80-20 That translates to around 5 billion. Then the next one to be carried over to the 2026, 2027. But then budget. Now let's talk about this. Mheshimiwa Odege, should there be white smoke and everything is sorted, there is going to be some broader impact that has to be fixed as soon as possible. That starts with the university. They have to go back to square one, 60 days of lectures and all that. Let's just go back to the broader aspect of it, the impact that the 60 days has caused this during the strike.
When I listened to Wesonga when he was addressing himself to the lecturers,
yes,
he was very clear and said he'll call upon lecturers to help students recover the lost period, which I think is very positive, and we need to support that. On 80-20, I don't want to say they're demanding for too much, because we are in the process of coming up with a supplementary budget.
Yes.
Either next week or within this month. And when we talk about 5 billion, the government can afford. 5 billion in Kenyan economy is very small. So for the government also to be seen as appreciating lecturers going back on duty, giving them 5 billion, I don't think they're demanding for too much, because I said it and I'm repeating. These people are due for a new CBA. So the earlier the better to clear with the debt. Because a new CBA is supposed to be in place by December here. Because we have a 4-year cycle of CBAs. That 4 year is over and they're due for another one. So the governments will try their best to clear the previous debts so that they prepare to implement the new one, so that we don't find ourselves in another strike. That one would be my plea. But for the lecturers, I want to congratulate them, because without their unit, they would have not achieved this. If you look at the back and forth game which was there and the calculations, like now you ask the universities, if these people are demanding for 7.9, and the universities were saying a different figure, which means the employee itself was not honest. Because all these figures we're talking about, even if you go to the government to negotiate, those who are supposed to give you figures correctly are the government, because they have all the experts with them, everybody employed there to do their work. So if the employer is the one behaving as if they don't know and asking for a lower figure, which was challenged successfully by the unions, is dishonesty. And it's something which you look at it and you say, what kind of a dishonest universities do we have? Me, what I wanted to ask the government, I don't want to blame the entire government on this. And what I want to ask the government and the Ministry of Education, we need to relook thoroughly at the leadership which we have in our universities. There is a problem. And if they cannot manage their own finances, the Ministry of Finance will take it upon itself to second officers to manage issues of finances in the university, so that they can concentrate in their core mandate of teaching our students.
Okay. That is another question altogether. University leadership. Okay, let's take a break. We'll break back with more. Stay with us. Great, welcome back. All of us have our cups of coffee, so let's do this all together. Now, I want us to wrap up this discussion very briefly, but let me ask you, Mheshimiwa Mwangangi, I mean, there are certain barriers when it comes to negotiation and even allocation of funds when it comes to CBAs. What are some of the challenges, perhaps? Unwillingness from the government? Because I remember what Sosion said, that this belonged to the previous administration. But you see now the current administration is carrying this CBA in perpetuity, right? So what are some of the complexities? Who should take responsibility? Because we don't have the previous administration which signed the CBA. We have the current one.
Last time we were here with Honorable Sosion, he told us the government is a continuous government. I think I was here during President Kibaki's time.
Yeah.
At no time did I hear President Kibaki blame KANU for issues relating to government or what was done or what was not done. During Kibaki's time, when he exited the leadership, I did not hear Uhuru Kenyatta's administration blame the government of President Mwai Kibaki. Equally now, cleverly, 3 years down the line, we are hearing this administration blame Uhuru Kenyatta's administration for so many not here, not there, not this, not that. And you wonder, this administration was part of that government at the very top level. So in fact, almost in all ways, because we were meant to understand it was from day one, it was 50-50 sharing thing. So I wonder when Honorable Sosioni keeps on telling us that, you know, this was during that government, now this government is trying to do this and that. That is not here nor there. It is, I said, it is inability of this government and unwillingness, the dishonest of the highest order, that they are not willing to pay. But I can tell you one thing. If the meetings being held by the president or the deputy, if they wanted 20 billion for those meetings, it will come out within hours. But simply because they are not interested on anything that they are benefiting directly. That's why you are seeing the countries where we are today in terms of labor unrestness. So in this case, my take, I think it is simply dishonest, unwillingness, and a government that is not bothered on what is happening as far as education is concerned. It is as simple as that. Let's agree here. By the way, and all of us here can agree, 7.9 billion for higher education in Kenya is just a drop in the ocean. If there is willingness, this government can sort out this thing within the shortest time possible, and there was no need in the first place to have this strike. So, if the top leadership's top agenda is elsewhere, you expect these kind of things. Yeah.
Okay. So, what are the complexities, Sosion? The implementation barriers. Do we have some of the things that perhaps are so hard to crack when it comes to implementing CBS?
The Kenya Kwanza administration has been very meticulous in implementing CBS, and it has no interest in courting conflicts and strikes from labor unions. I think it is common knowledge, and Mwangangi should know, it's not a stranger in Kenya. The issues that existed even with the doctors were agreements that were breached in the previous administration. This one of lecturers, it is the same thing. We are discussing 2017-2021 CBA, which was litigated against by the government in 2021. And that government in 2021 was another regime. That's the truth. You know, we must assemble all these facts. And nevertheless, the current regime has the responsibility to clean up all this confusion. And I want to tell you, Victor, and say it in this show, never again will you see a strike in the universities, because this confusion is going to be the last one. And that explains, and this is underpinned by the presence of the Cabinet Secretary Treasury in Parliament yesterday and Cabinet Secretary Education. If Kenya Kwanza administration was not keen in sorting out all these issues, one, it wouldn't have admitted the 7.9 billion. It wouldn't have committed to clear it in phases. Of course, initially it was 3 phases, but listening to the lecturers and looking at where the mess came from, and I come back to what Tom is talking about. University management cannot mess up programs and then you shift it to be a political blame game against the government. Government is a very large entity, and there are institutions that are responsible for certain activities. Implementation of the CBA is the mandate of the universities, and if universities don't execute the CBAs correctly, and you get the ministry appealing against the same again in a court of law, so that then do we have to force lecturers to go through arduous process of signing CBAs? After signing CBAs, they must also go to a lower court, employment court, to defend themselves,
or strike,
go again to the court of appeal to defend the same, and then ultimately go on a strike. That is being foolish, and somebody must take responsibility. I said here, let us not talk about government. Let's talk about individuals bearing the greatest responsibility of creating this confusion. Our students have wasted time for close to 2 months now, spending money, paying their rental places, and spending the money that is given to them by government through help, while they are not learning. And we have seen our lecturers struggling and putting on, male lecturers even putting on derras. Are they supposed to be putting on derras and going to the street to demonstrate and demand what must be paid, or they are supposed to be engaged in teaching and learning and research? I commend the lecturers for standing together and defending their rights. The Kenyan lecturers are some of the best in the world in terms of organized labor actions. And I've said here, never again will this country witness this type of strike action born out of omission by the university management. From here, government and the Ministry of Education should undertake a thorough surgery of university management and administration, because we expect transition to university to go up. We expect financial stability with the new funding model and more resources funded, and we expect effective delivery of teaching at the universities, so that then Kenyan education outcomes at the universities can be very, very competitive in the world. We expect lecturers to concentrate and focus more in undertaking research activities.
Thank you.
And we expect universities to have the greatest impact in community development, particularly when you're talking about lifting the country from the third world to the first world. It can only be done through quality teaching in the university.
I hear you, sir. Let me bring in Mheshimiwa Odege here. You were the one who talked about there should be, and I think he's also echoed your statement, that there should be some serious surgery in the university leadership. Just expand on that.
When you look at issues raised during this strike, and even if you listen very keenly to the unions presenting themselves, up to a level where the universities had to admit that what the unions were presenting was right, after a long struggle, which means this struggle is clearly telling us that the unions were dealing with the wrong people who don't know. They are in the position of leadership, they have funds to implement, they have CBAs to implement, but they are not knowledgeable on what they are implementing. That's why we had to go for over a month just arguing about the figure these people are demanding for. If we gave the university unions correct people to negotiate with, I don't think it was necessary to fight over figure. When you look at how the universities are communicating across, there is a disharmony. You'll find individual universities giving conflicting information, which is a very clear gap in how the universities are managing themselves. because we expect harmony, because we have one education system, we have one higher education system in Kenya, and we expect the same product coming out. If you see disharmony and some degree of incompetence, we must come up with a very clear strategy on how to strengthen it so that we don't go back to these problems.
Could it be the reason why some of the universities, public universities, are actually in session while others are on strike?
But now, you ask yourselves, because majority of these universities, the lecturers, can even bribe their own systems within the university to be seen they're succeeding. That's why you'll hear some lecturers are hiding, doing some online teaching like that. This one, I think, is pressure from the leadership they have there. It's bribery, so that a lecturer cannot miss what to eat. And let's say if the VC of Nairobi University is a Luo, he'll prevail upon lecturers, the Luos. If you go on this strike, you'll bring me down, and I'm one of your own. So how do we save one of our own? Then you see such things cropping into the university and bringing some betrayals. But what is important here, which we need to agree on as a panel, is that if an ill is committed, everybody should join hands to correct it.
Yeah.
Like this one of the university, when you look at what has transpired, it's very clear. Like now we are treating this one, but let the government not sit back. They should realize what befell them. And I'm still suggesting that the financial management of the universities, government must come in.
Okay.
I don't know whether you're getting me.
I get you.
The financial management of the universities, government must come in, because majority of the managers we have in the university, they are lecturers and teachers. Let's put it there. Maybe the financial management is a challenge.
Okay.
So if that's the weakness which has been identified, these people should be given support so that we don't go back to what we have seen here.
All right. I have 15 minutes. Gentlemen, I want us to close that. Mheshimiwa Mwangangi, the former deputy president, let's come back to politics a bit. Let's talk about that. Now that you're here. You want a rebuttal?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Just
Go ahead.
1 minute. I think the late Prime Minister, Right Honorable Raila Odinga, once said in Kiswahili, fisi woza kuanzia kichwa. That was Michael Porter's quote, that fish rot first at the head. When it comes to government, we have two levels of government in Kenya: the counties and the national government.
Yeah.
At national level, Kenyans elected a president and a deputy president. At county level, there is a governor and a deputy governor. Now, the buck stops with those leaders at their respective jurisdiction. In this case, the agents whom we are blaming here are appointees of the President of the Republic of Kenya. Are we saying here, or rather, is Honorable Sosioni, because I've learned my fellow leaders here are defenders of this regime, are we saying that nobody at the highest level, despite the country being led by two distinguished professors, one on planting of trees and another one on constitution, I hear, does it mean it did not ring to them that there is a strike going on in Kenya, such that somebody could...
Is that a question to me or to Sosioni?
No, to everybody here.
Okay.
Did it mean that either the president or the deputy president, none had or saw there was a strike in Kenya, hence their intervention? Even by calling the respective CSS to ensure they pressurize them to sit down with these lecturers, solve this problem, and if they are unable, they escalate it to themselves. In any case, Kenyans elected them. We do not know these other agents. They are the appointees. They are the appointees. So in this case, my take would be We are where we are because of the top leadership of the country.
Mheshimiwa Odeg, what do you want to say?
If you looked at my body language throughout this debate, I was seriously trying to avoid politics because this agenda we have before us here is direct.
It's serious.
It's
It's touching everybody. But let me say this. Even if you make me president today and you give me the country to run, I must allow every department and sectors to work. What we have to discourage seriously is micromanagement. If we now have a president and a deputy president and we want them to micromanage, then why are we here?
Intervening on a serious national matter is not an interference. It's not micromanaging.
You intervene at the right time with the information. You don't expect president to be everywhere at every time.
To be the chief accountant.
We must allow people to work. Like now, after concluding this strike, this is now the right time to ask the president to crack the whip. Because all the weaknesses which has led us to all these problems are already identified and known. But if we want president to be everywhere, we will not have a system in this country. And micromanaging sectors is dangerous to our development and everything in the country. Give people work. Look at how Kibaki worked. Appoint people with competence. Allow them to work. If you fail on what you are doing, you are punished on your own problem.
I think what Mheshimiwa Mwangangi was talking about is perhaps it ought not to have taken 2 months.
Okay.
For him not to intervene.
Maybe we can pick on the duration, but if you ask me, like if president would have come in 2 weeks, when even the figures themselves
were not clarified,
were not agreeable, the fault was not known of who. Now that the fault is known, and people have admitted the problem is ABCD and who caused it, then now he should zero in and crack the whip.
You talk about cracking the whip.
Yeah.
About who and over what?
I said, and I'm repeating, there is a big problem in the management of universities.
Great.
Okay. One comment. Strike in Kenya, and these are union leaders. The country has known them because of their union activities and involvement. There is a notice for any union to go on strike. There is that period which is for either 14 or 21 days.
I think, Victor.
Now, when you add another 60 days, you are saying that is too little for a president or deputy president or government to intervene?
I think, Victor.
Then maybe I'm lost.
Victor, Mwangangi is getting it wrong. He's behaving like he's new in Kenya. This conflict was a conflict that even was in court. And there were court rulings to the same. And the arguments that ensued was so complicated. The parties could not agree. Remember, this is employer-employee relationship matters. It has nothing to do with a third party called a government. And you cannot expect when there are disputes, even labor disputes within a sector, the president to come and micromanage. It's not possible. The president will always, through government, to ensure that the right things are done. And by the time the 7.9 billion was confirmed and the mathematics were done in public, there was a committee and a team that was formed, which generated a report and signed that report. It is what informed the country. It is even what helped the government to take a decision. I think at this point, give it to the government. If it has respected, if it oversaw a committee to identify and get the correct figures, and that committee got the correct figures, and the government has undertaken to implement and pay what has been agreed, I think give credit to the government.
Okay.
So the duration that it has taken is because of the complexities.
Okay.
And those complexities were caused by the management. So the problem, you cannot shift focus to government instead of dealing with errant and individuals, either at the ministry, either at the Treasury, either at the SRC, and either at the universities. Nobody appoints. The Constitution is very clear about who is appointed. Even a minister is not solely appointed by the president. They are appointed through approvals in Parliament. And the vice chancellors are appointed according to the University Act through the Public Service Commission.
Mheshimiwa Sossion, millions of Kenyans are watching this show this morning, including parents, students, and teachers. Some white smoke, just some hope at the end of the day.
I said
yes.
Some white smoke.
I said it.
That I can tell you because you have asked me. The strike will come to an end.
Okay.
Before end of the day.
You are the one who started it all.
I can tell you
some white smoke.
All the university unions who are on strike today, and myself, we consult every day on the university issues, and I'm privy that the strike will come to an end today.
Very good. Some good news.
That good news, I urge Kenyans. The notice, the strike itself, that is too long. It shows incompetence and the government that is very insensitive.
Off the mark.
I'm saying
cannot just be making political capital even on issues that are not relevant to his political interest.
Yeah. For viewers, they need to ignore Zion. He can't say anything.
No, you should be ignored as well.
What I'm saying is, because we have a government that is killing education sector in Kenya, and all these individuals who are being blamed here are appointees of the leadership of this country. Please, Kenyans, vote out this administration come the right time to show them their insensitiveness.
Okay,
Victor, I'm sure you are not here to come and discuss.
Victor, we have some 4 minutes now. But as much as we tried to avoid politics, and Mwangangi has really tried to draw us
to bring in, to pull us.
This is what I want to say.
Cheap politics.
This is what I want to say.
Cheap politics that is not qualified.
This is what I want to say. 2027 is coming. And all of us, we are aware, we'll go to the ballot. We are all aware.
Kenya deserves better.
And time is coming when we are going to campaign. Ruto, as our president, will account for his 5 years to Kenyans.
In 2027.
In 2027. And if he will be accounting for what he has done for Kenyans in 5 years, that's what we'll use to measure him. All these things we are trying to bring in now,
the emotions of Mwangangi
are from people who have never
the reason why I'm asking
in any position of leadership.
He's talked about Kenyans should get good leadership. The alternative, there is Mheshimiwa Kalonzo Matiang'i lineup or Natembea lineup. Is that what?
Do we have a lineup in opposition currently, which has been officially announced?
He can tell us.
Do we even
now, from his comment, I now agree with this star headline. These are people who are killing Baba's party.
You read something there about ODM.
Yes.
And I can.
Mwangangi should tell us where he slept.
I can tell you. I can tell Kenyans here. That we are wounded, and we have accepted as a party.
As ODM.
We are wounded.
But don't be divided. Don't be used to divide the party.
After losing our general, we are wounded, and we are currently down, but not out. So anyone who is counting us out is at his own peril. And there is no single organized party in the Republic of Kenya like ODM. So that organization is still there. I know it's a prayer for majority of our competitors.
That's not
they are praying very hard for ODM to crack, and they'll be shocked. ODM will remain one party, and the direction we are taking, if those people who are looking at us around, they'll see we know where we are going.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
allow me to
I can tell Victor, 2027, if they're thinking about kupita katikati, hakuna njia ya kupita katikati. 2027 it's going to be thoroughly competitive, and Kenyans are above what is imagined.
Kenyans, and I keep on saying, should not take Sossion very serious. Well, because you know he has never won any elective seat. And for Mheshimiwa and the ODM party, please, what I'm saying is there is nobody who is praying.
Oh, no, you give me 10 seconds. I talk about Tanzania. Because my constituency is bordering Tanzania.
So my take would be,
yes, in 5 seconds.
Sincerely, we talked over. Baba wanted a united party. Let them just be as such. That is the prayer, because a very well organized and very well vibrant ODM is good for the Kenya's democracy. On Tanzania, without injuring the relations of the two countries and within the East Africa, please spare Kenyans what is happening there. What we are seeing Kenyans being
my constituency, I think in Nyanza, we have the largest border with Tanzania, both in the lake and land. And our people, and the Tanzania people, we have been living in peace. What I want to ask our brothers from the other side, Kenya is not at war with Tanzania. And let us not cause unnecessary tension between two countries which have been coexisting very peacefully. By ordering Kenyans not to cross the border of Tanzania, Tanzania stands to lose a lot. If you look at trade between Kenya and Tanzania, it's Tanzania benefiting more than Kenya.
Yeah.
And I want to ask our government to help our traders to discover or rediscover our food availability in Kenya. We are able to sustain ourselves. Everything we are getting from Tanzania, we can get from Meru region.
Okay.
Instead of camping at the border to get goods from Tanzania, can they redirect those lorries to Meru region, Mount Kenya, and Nyanza, and Rift Valley? We can sustain ourselves. We don't need to camp at the border waiting for fruits. We have fruits. We don't need to camp at the border waiting for cereals. We have cereals. If what we have is not enough for us, we can still look for extra goods from Uganda. But let us not force ourselves in a country which is currently not ready for us.
And which is
I think that's a very good note to wind up. I mean, these two countries, we've enjoyed brotherhood for a very long time. So, gentlemen, allow me to finish by saying that I think Sossion and Odege, you're going to be happy about this. The Cabinet Secretary to hold, that is Mheshimiwa Julius Ogamba, is Cabinet, let me just read it. Cabinet Secretary to hold talks with IPUCCF, WASU, KUSU, KUDEHA, over the university strike, and it says that the Cabinet Secretary of Education, Julius Migos Ogamba's EBS, is scheduled to meet with officials of IPUCCF, WASU, KUSU, KUDEHA over the ongoing lecturer strike, university strike rather. We cordially invite members of the press for a press briefing this morning, Wednesday 5th at 9 a.m. at Jogo House B, 10th floor. So, yes, that's a dispatch that has just come to our newsrooms, and I've received it. So let's hope for the best. I think we can wind it up.
And I hope Mwangangi is up.
Yes.
Government in action.
Mheshimiwa Sossion, thank you so much.
And
the strike is ending. It's ending.
Yeah. And Mheshimiwa Tomodege is a lawmaker of Nyatike constituency, bordering Kenya and Tanzania. Let's maintain peace. Mheshimiwa Mwangangi, thank you so much. You'll be at Opoda Farm tomorrow?
Oh, yes.
Thank you. Wish you all the best. Thank you for watching. I'm Victor Lowe. Good morning.